What's up? Today I will be going over my 2025 champs pick'ems. We're gonna jump right into it. The first game is Fnatic against DRX. I personally think this is gonna be a really good game. A lot of these games are gonna be very good and very close in my opinion. Like pretty much every game is gonna be close except for Giant X NRG. I think Paper X G2 will be very close. I think Heretics versus MIBR will be very close. But I think I initially said this like in another video or something like that. But I believe that Fnatic are gonna beat DRX just because they're gonna play very, very slow. And I feel like it's gonna be a weird adjustment for DRX. And I think Fnatic are gonna end up taking it away. Like I said, it's gonna be close, okay? Most likely going 3 maps. Like the majority of these games are gonna go 3 maps. Just like the next game, Paper X versus G2, I think that's gonna go 3 maps also. Now, here's the big thing. These are pretty much the 2 best teams at the tournament right now. And I do believe that whoever wins this will end up winning like the entirety of the tournament, especially if it's G2, because if G2 has to go on a lower bracket run, they're gonna have to win a lot of games. Or if Paper X goes on a lower bracket run, they're gonna have to win a lot of games, and it's gonna be a lot of resilience. And if you manage to go through the biggest like lower bracket run of all time, that means that you're most likely gonna win champs. That's solely because it takes a lot out of you to do that, and you basically go through all the trials and tribulations in the lower bracket, and at that point there's nobody that can pretty much stop you. But yeah, it's pretty hard to pick who's gonna win here, if I'm being honest. I feel like on a certain day G2s could win, and I feel like Paper X also could win. But if I had to trust my gut, I'd most likely believe that G2 is going to lose and Paper X would go next. The next matchup, I got MIBR against Heretics. I would have to take Heretics, honestly. I feel like MIBR can make a decent run here, but I don't think that they're going to go crazy far. And I think this is going to be another game that is going to be very hectic, and that's going to go another 3 maps. I feel like it's going to be another close game. Literally all I'm seeing is comments saying MIBR this, MIBR that, and NRG this and NRG that, because they're from the Americas. But literally, MIBR and NRG, when I was watching their games, look like one of the best teams at the tournament. Like those 2 teams I feel like have a high chance to go like at least top 3, top 4. Like in my personal opinion, they look the cleanest out of everybody in this bracket. And it's like, it comes down to their consistency too. I feel like on some days, G2 and Heretics could just like lose a game, and they don't really know why, but they'll end up just losing it anyways. But like teams like Fnatic is solid. I feel like NRG is also pretty solid. I feel like it'd take a literally like a shooting star, but I think Paper X can lose too. But at the same time, I feel like they're still gonna end up being like top 3, top 4. But yeah, I wouldn't underestimate MIBR against Heretics in this matchup, like every other person is doing, which is stupid. And of course, I said NRG would beat Giant X, just because NRG, they look way too good compared to Giant X. And this would mean that it would be Fnatic against Paper X. Now, in this matchup, I would like to believe that Paper X is going to take it away from Fnatic. And the reason I think Paper X is going to win is because I think they're in a movable wall right now. Like, they cannot be stopped. And if you were to stop them, it's going to take a lot out of you. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to take a lot of anti-stratting. That's why I think G2 would be like a good matchup for them. But when it comes to Fnatic, I don't believe they're going to be able to get it done, personally. That's nothing against like the people on Fnatic, but at the same time, like, I just don't think they got it in them. Like, at least yet. The next matchup would be Heretics against NRG. I think NRG is going to beat Heretics. I believe that they have a very good chance at beating Heretics here. I also think that NRG is going to end up going to like the uppers, or they're going to at least place like top 4, at least, bare minimum. To me, I think that the fact that they can come down from like half of these maps and be like down 8 rounds, 9 rounds and bring it back says so much about the team, and literally just shows like, damn, they really got it in them. They're just like fucking up a couple rounds, or they fuck up a half and then they just recover it. Like, they keep fighting constantly. You know, they're always trying to fight to stay alive. But yeah, I think this will go another 3 maps, another close game, just like, I didn't say it, but Paper X and Fnatic would be like a close 3 maps too. But yeah, I believe it'll be Paper X against NRG in the upper final. Now getting down to the nitty gritty. DRX versus G2. I believe that it's going to be another close game, but I believe that G2 is going to end up trying to take it away, and I believe that they can do it. And then when it comes to MIBR and Giant X, I think that MIBR is going to win that pretty easily. And then we got the lower bracket of Doom and Despair. It'll be Fnatic against G2, and it will be Heretics against MIBR. Now, for some reason, if you were in the top bracket like Fnatic, you end up going to like the other side of the bracket. So they'll be playing against MIBR, and Heretics will be playing against G2. Now, G2 versus Heretics. Who do I have winning? I'm gonna be honest, I feel like it's their time now. I feel like it should be G2's time to win now. And I feel like they'll end up beating Heretics, maybe even like in a 2-0 fashion, but the games will be very close in my opinion. Like very intensely close. Maybe even like an overtime game. Like I said, all these teams, I find it very difficult to just pick a winner and be like definitively like, oh, this team's 100% gonna win. Like I said, on certain days, some of these teams can and can't win, like one more than the other. Like I can genuinely see G2 getting the better of Heretics that day, or Heretics getting the better of G2 that day. Even when it comes to Fnatic and MIBR, I think that MIBR does have a decent chance against Fnatic. And I think that they can even like pull ahead of Fnatic this day. When I watched MIBR versus Fnatic in the group stage, they did like play well, you know what I mean? MIBR managed to take the first map and then ended up like losing it all, but they didn't look that terrible at the end of the day. But yeah, I got G2 winning, and I'm gonna have to be honest, I'd probably say Fnatic is gonna win. Even though I did just hype up MIBR and say they do have a good chance, I don't believe they're gonna end up beating Fnatic. Like I said, this might go another 3 maps again, and they could get the best of them, but I don't think they got it yet. Which would mean it's PaperX versus NRG in the upper final, and in the lower bracket, the last time, this means you get top 4 automatically. I think it's going to be G2 versus Fnatic. And like I said, I think this is going to be another slugfest that we're going to see. I think this one's going to get pretty ugly in my opinion. But I do believe that at the end of the day, I think G2 is going to end up pulling away and winning. Like I said, I think this is going to be very, very close. But I do think G2 have it in them to win this. Which leaves the upper final, which is PaperX against NRG. At the end of the day gonna end. You know what I mean? I personally believe that PaperX don't have that big of a map pool, and they're gonna have to show me how big their map pool actually is until they get into like a best of 3. Then they're gonna have to show that they can actually do it. Because at the end of the day, you need a best of 3 to win champs. Oh, and don't let it go 4 and 5 maps. Then I think PaperX would definitely lose in like a grand final against any of these people. G2 or NRG, or even like Fnatic if they somehow make it, you know what I mean, like anybody, because I feel like their map pools are way deeper than PRX's. But since the upper final is a best of 2, I do think they'll beat NRG, and then it's going to come down to the NA rematch with NRG against G2, and I do believe that at the end of the day, G2 has a bigger map pool than NRG. Okay, I gotta be honest. I do kind of want NRG to win champs, but I will be honest, I think G2 is gonna end up winning it. You know, I did have like a path set up where I'm like, oh, NRG, if this happens and that happens and that happens, then they're gonna win champs. But if we're being completely honest, they have a very slim to none chance at winning. Like having them beat any of these teams, you know, in like the top 8 multiple times in a row, it's gonna be very difficult for them to do that, in my opinion. I don't know. I don't want to say like I have no faith in them, but you know, they're gonna have to play and perform very well. But yeah, that leaves G2 versus PaperX. In the G2 versus PaperX finals, I promise you, it would be G2 coming away and winning it. G2 simply has a bigger map pool, better anti-strats, and I know that they're gonna end up coming away with it at the end of the day. But, and this is a big but, if somehow NRG managed to beat G2 some way, somehow, it's over, okay? They're winning champs. That's all I gotta say. They just insta win. I mean, my team is gone. I root for Sentinels, and they've been gone. So, since I have nobody else to root for, I'm rooting for NRG. Okay? I believe that NRG shouldn't be making it this far, honestly, but I'm gonna just be a believer. But what is it? All my picks are kind of unbiased. I'm not even gonna lie. I feel like they're as unbiased as possible because when I was watching all the games throughout the groups, like I pretty much watched every single game, and I know what teams look good and what teams look bad. Like, even when G2 played against Heretics and they lost in, like, the first round, I feel like they didn't look bad. And watching MIBR in the group stage, they looked fantastic. I don't know why. They just look crazy good. That's why I highly rate MIBR. I'm like, MIBR and NRG, they look amazing. They even look a little bit better than, like, a G2. They both look more like, a little bit more like a PaperX. But, like, a team that didn't really impress me too much was DRX and, like, a Giant X. Fnatic was doing their Fnatic thing, and I think they did pretty well. But also, I think Heretics looked kind of impressive too. I think if they do have good like bomb holds like they did on Corrode and Miniboo comes alive, then they'll end up winning and going pretty far. But yeah, it's either I got Paper X, G2, or NRG winning. But my best chance I have is I'd say G2 is most likely going to win. Just because they got a bigger map pool than PRX. And if they were to go up against NRG, I feel like they'd end up beating NRG. But yeah, I got G2 as the VALORANT Champions 2025 winner. Alright, now let me know if you think the same or if you think I'm tripping like normal. Tell me if I'm tripping in the comments. Thank you so much if you watched. I will see you later.